Sorry for the sweaty face. Just got done with the gym. All right, so I'm going to try to be as objective as I can with this because it's definitely a little still difficult to talk about. But so a little background. So I'm ethically non-monogamous, and Tanya is as well, and or at least she said she is. So I'm assuming she is. Have to trust her on that. But my primary partner of 4 years, I've known her for 5 years, and we were together for 4 years. She died back in March, so that was rough. I had suppressed a lot of emotions. You know, I've lost a lot of friends, either in combat or to suicide. And, you know, my mom died at I think she was 45. I don't really remember the dates, but, you know, I hadn't cried over that, so I just kind of shut everything down for literally probably 2 decades. And so after Donna died, I realized that I'd been shutting down my emotions, and I needed to be more open emotionally and emotionally vulnerable to people, because we knew we loved each other and we told each other and all that stuff, but I didn't realize just how much I loved her until she was gone or dying. We had honestly planned on moving to Ireland, and because she's from Ireland, or she was from Ireland, so we were planning on moving to Ireland and building a house there on her father's property. So that was going to be the future. And she'd just gotten her finances together, and she had no debt. I was really proud of her. But anyways, after she passed, so I'm really picky with the kind of people I get with. So for me, looks are very secondary. It depends on who you are as a person first. So if you're an asshole, I'm not going to get with you, right? It's just the way it is. I don't care how hot you are. So about 3 or 4 months after she passed, so we used to do these naked pool parties together every now and then. It's a once every 2 month thing. And there's a group that's, you know, they're body positive, and they're just real easygoing, and there's no pressure, and there's no, you know, because a lot of those groups, there's always one person there that's a little bit rapey or something, but nothing like that. Really respectful of boundaries and all that good stuff. So about 3 months after she died, I got invited to one of these things, 3 or 4 months. And so I went over there and had a good time, you know, and realized, okay, maybe it's time to get back out there. So I don't do the online dating. I've done Tinder before, way back in the day, and it's just a dumpster fire. But I found Feeld, F-E-E-L-D, which is a dating website for people who are polyamorous or ethically non-monogamous. So I figured I'd give that a shot. So I got on there, and I matched with this cute black girl within an hour of being on there, which was shocking because that's usually not how that works with online dating with guys. But so anyways, I matched with her. Because I'd been brutally honest on my profile and put everything I was looking for. I was I'm looking for a primary partner to share my life with. You know, it's I lost my primary partner back in March, so I'm pretty sure I put all that stuff on my profile. But so anyways, this black girl, she's really cute and all, and she was it looked like she was what I was looking for, and she read my profile and was like, this is what I'm looking for, this is great. She's like, I have one question, are you vaccinated, LOL? And I was like, oh no. I was like, well, I did 10 years in the military, and I figured, what's 2 more shots? And she immediately unmatched me, so I was like, okay, I must have dodged a bullet there. But anyways, matched with a few more people and over the next day and a half, and talked to them all, and just wasn't what I was looking for. So I think it was day 2 or 3, I got up and checked, and Tanya had matched with me. So I hadn't matched with her. I had paid for the service to know who matched. So I was like, okay. So I looked at her profile, and I liked what she had written in her bio and everything else like that. She was objective and brutally honest and all that stuff. That's all traits I was looking for. So I matched with her, and we started talking. So we talked over text for a while, and then I got her number, and then we were talking over voice messages and everything like that. And I told her what I was doing and all that stuff, because I'd gotten back in the gym after Donna passed, because I needed to work out my, you know, grief on that stuff. But I did go through grief counseling and all that good stuff. So I pretty much, it still hurts. There's still days I look over in my car and expect to see her, but she's not there. So So I told Tanya, I was like, well, I don't really do the whole dating thing. I was like, I really like to go do something physical with a potential partner before we go anywhere. And I was like, and I am demisexual, so, you know, I need to kind of get to know you better. So we met up, we went rock climbing for the first time. She could obviously keep up, it was great. And then we went to a local kava bar here and talked for about probably 3 hours. So it was really good. She could carry a conversation. She was really honest and just really outgoing and upfront. So I was like, holy shit, I can't believe I found another woman with Donna's, like, the same type of values that she had, you know, because I honestly, it took me about 30, what would that be, like 33, 34 years to find a woman like Donna, and then, you know, I didn't think I was going to find another one like her, so, or at least with those values. So Tanya seemed to have it. So we kept talking over the next couple days, and then she came over to watch a movie, and things went from there. And it was funny because she was like, you know, we started kissing and everything like that. And she was like, do you usually get into people's pants this fast? And I was like, to be honest with you, I was like, I really like you as a person. I do not want to get emotionally attached to you and then find out we're not sexually compatible. I was like, so I was pretty much like, it's up to you, but I think us getting naked and seeing where it goes would be a good first start. So we did, and it was great. And sexual compatibility was there, which was awesome. So that was good. So over the next couple months, obviously, she introduced me to the strongman thing, which I thought was cool because the whole powerlifting thing never really appealed to me. I don't want to lift a barbell up and down all day for competition or whatever. But it reminded me, strongman reminded me of like farm work growing up as a kid. So anyways, I thought that was really cool. And she had mentioned that there was a lot of pushback from, I guess, the pushback from the strongman community about her trying to do her own stuff or whatever. And so I was supporting her in that as much as I could. And, you know, and that's the other thing when we met, I told her, because she was like, I only have scraps of time. I was like, that's fine. I'm retired. I literally have completely flexible time. I was like, so I'll work around your schedule. That's not an issue. So throughout it, she had concerns. She was like, I don't know if I'm, you know, meet everything you need in a partner. She was like, I don't know if I want to be called a primary partner. I was like, well, as far as you meeting everything I need, I was like, let me worry about that. I was like, right now you're meeting all my needs. And I felt for her really hard. Like, and I knew part of it was from Donna and like expecting not to find someone else like that again. And so I knew that was part of it, and we talked about it, and she was, you know, she's rational, so she understood. That's the other thing. I made myself very emotionally vulnerable with her. I mean, I told her about Donna and I was crying. And like, there's very few women out there that I've been emotionally vulnerable with that have not left because they're like, oh, this guy must be weak or something. I'm like, I literally have 4 tours in combat zones and 10 years in the military, 2 years at the Air Force Academy, like, clearly not weak. So, but so Tanya had mentioned a couple times that she mentioned one guy, I was talking really passionately about something, and I forget what it was, but it was something I was excited about, and she, you know, I'd sent her a voice message, and she sent me back a voice message, and she was like, okay, that tone of voice is like something that my ex used to do, and I didn't like, so I was like, oh shit, all right, so I should have like dug into that deeper, but it was still new, so I didn't want to really dig in. Because that's the other thing too. Like, I do have a master's degree in rehabilitation counseling. I do know the theories. I don't like to analyze people because it doesn't go like, it's not healthy, right? You don't want to analyze someone in a relationship. So you got to shut that side of you down. Maybe I should have analyzed her more. I don't know. But I know I'm rambling here. It's a lot. Just I also have short-term memory issues, so that's fun. But what else? So, what else was it through the relationship? Oh, so that was the other thing. I was like, well, to be honest with you, I was like, I haven't found anything about you that annoys me, which is really kind of scary. I was like, that's a little bit scary, a little bit weird. Haven't run into this before. And I was like, and I'm also, you know, I'm in deep with you. Like, I feel safe with you. She's the first woman I've ever been with that I felt safe around. I always felt like, okay, I mean, even Donna was awesome, but she was 110 pounds soaking wet, and, you know, my thought was, hey, if the freaking axe murderer comes in through the front door, like, she can't really do a lot to help, right? Like, I'll teach her to shoot. That's about it. But, and I mentioned that to Tanya. I was like, you're the first woman I've ever been with that I feel safe around. And she was like, well, yeah. I was like, because I know I'm not going to see your cowardly feet going out the window when the axe murderer comes in the door. She's like, oh no, we're going to fuck that dude up together. So I had already started lifting weights again, but she got me hooked up with strongman Steve, coach. And so I started lifting weights heavier. So I was getting bigger and stronger. And because that's the other thing, man, I'm looking back and I'm trying to think of what else could have triggered this. So went with her through several competitions, supported her and all of that stuff when she was competing. She said I did a good job as a quote unquote handler. So I was like, that's good. When it came to the bedroom, like, I got way kinkier with her than I have with anyone else. Like, I literally trusted her with a strap on, which I've never ever done before. So I went through like anal dilation and all that stuff for her, you know, because I knew that was a part of her that she needed. And so I'm like, look, it's probably going to be fun for me too. So I'm just going to do this and see. So I had sent her photos. I had trusted her with all that stuff, and I still trust her with that stuff. I mean, I know she's fundamentally an awesome person. So yeah, I trusted her with a lot, and you know, she trusted me with some light bondage, which was cool. And it was nothing she couldn't get out of. Like, I knew she had mentioned specifically that her ex, because that was the other thing. She's living with her ex, which I thought was weird, but I was like, look, you know, they're, she said they're, what'd she say, nesting partners or whatever. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, but if he gets with another person and like moves, like, you're going to be alone. So are you doing this for money, or like, what is going on? And that's the other thing too, like, as the conversation went on, I found out she had spent months trying to get this guy back. I forget his name. Terrible with names. Anyways. So that was odd, but I was like, hey, you know, she's rational, she's logical, she's intelligent. I'm like, I know she's only got a 10th grade education, but intelligence and education are two different things, which, you know, every now and then she'd get down on herself about. And I tell her that. I'm like, look, intelligence and education are two different things. Like, you're an intelligent person, you know, you can educate yourself. So, all right. So the day of so she had been putting together this strong woman or strongman competition over at Crate, which I thought was awesome. She had like 40 female athletes out there competing, and she was bringing in people from different areas like CrossFit and powerlifting and all that stuff, which, you know, from what she told me, she was getting like some pushback from the community for doing that because they wanted to keep it pure, quote unquote. But I don't know. I'm not privy to all that stuff. So that's just what I seem to pick up on. So anyways, about maybe 2 weeks before the show, she had to get these shirts made, and all her sponsors' logos were bitmaps or raster images, and in color. So she needed them all turned to white and vectorized and redesigned so they print out on the shirts. So I have a very broad skill set. I can weld, I can do carpentry, I can do framing, I can do block, I can operate heavy equipment, I can shoot, I can do all this stuff, right? So I'm also a computer fucking nerd. So I was like, I can do this. So it took me about 12 hours, and I got it done, and it turned out freaking fabulous. I had to redesign all the logos and everything so the lines would fit in that screen printing. So I had to figure out how screen printing worked, and then realized that it was about the equivalent of about 36 dots per inch, or pixels per inch. So then I took the design that I'd done, scaled it down to 36 pixels per inch, figured out which lines weren't going to print, and like did all that. So got it all done. 12 hours. So the day before the competition, she asked me if I wanted to come up out and help her. I was like, absolutely, because I was, you know, if she had free time, I'd be there for her. So it's only a 32-minute drive. That was the other thing I told her. I was like, look, I would not drive 32 miles or 32 minutes one way for just anybody, you know, and sometimes an hour depending on traffic. So, because, you know, she mentioned that as a long drive or something like that. But I was like, you're worth it. And that's what I always tell her, is you're worth it. So she passed she had no green flag. She passed all the tests that I gave her, which were dumb little tests that you got to test people on just to make sure they're good, which I need to stop doing that apparently because it triggers people. And that's the thing. I got spoiled with Donna because Donna, the relationship was so easy and she was just so freaking educated and intelligent, and like she was in the STEM field, and just a very logical person, which was awesome. And you know, if something happened or we started, we never really fought. We debated though, and if she felt like something was off, she'd take 72 hours and think about it, which, oh my God, no one else does that, you know. And then she would decide if it was her issues coming up or if it was something that we needed to address and talk about. So, and it's usually 50-50 roughly. And we just grew stronger in our relationship, like dealing with this stuff and moving through it. So, anyways, so got the shirt design done. Went up there. She asked me if I wanted to go up there and help her the day before. I was like, absolutely, I'll be there. So I came up. Helped her set up as much as I could. She was apologetic because she was like, I know there's, you know, I had planned on more stuff, but this is all we got. I was like, it's fine. And she did tell me, she was like, don't take anything I say personally the day of the event. Or no, I think we woke up that day. I don't know, details are foggy. Went to bed with her that night, slept with her since everything was good. And that's the other thing, like she doesn't usually, you know, she would want to sleep in the same bed sometimes, which I'm all about. But at the same time, when we first got together and we both kept each other awake because we're both light sleepers, she was like, you have to be because she talked about assets and liabilities in relationships. And she was like, you have to be, she's like, I always think of people as assets or liabilities. And I was like, well, when it comes to a relationship, it's both. Like, you're going to be a liability at some point and you're going to be an asset. Hopefully you're an asset more than your liability. Like, that's life. This is real life. It's like, you're 40, come on, you know this. But anyways, so, fuck, having a hard time staying focused here. Oh yeah, so we slept together in the same bed, slept okay, I think, at least I did. She got up early, she was like, let's fucking do this, like she always does, which was cool, and got up, went out there with her, helped her start setting up. But that's the other thing with her, you know, I'd have to keep my boundaries too. Like, for example, we were at the motorcycle track and she wanted me to film her racing, and oh, that was the other thing too. She tried Delta 8 for the first time at my place, and she said the next day that she had like a fleeting moment where she thought I might kill her or something. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. I was like, what is wrong? I was like, but I just chalked it up to like basic paranoia because that happens sometimes. But apparently there was a lot more there to unpack. So, so I went down to, God, I'm losing my place. Yeah, I'm sorry for rambling, man. I'm trying. Oh, so I had to keep my boundaries up too. So, because, you know, she told me that. She's like, you got to tell me if there's something I'm doing that you don't want me to do or something. But anyways, so she'd asked me to record her on her motorcycle riding around the track. Well, I started recording or practicing with some other motorcycles, and like she like started, I mean, not like in a bad way, but just getting on my case. She was like, bro, I don't need videos of other motorcycles on my phone. And I was like, go stand over there. I was like, I'm just practicing. But anyways, so little things like that, right? It's just, she's a tour de force, man. Like, you gotta, like, she'll run over you. She'll steamroll you if you let her. So, just is what it is. And I'm not a doormat. So, and we talked about this. So day of, she wanted me to, like, I was walking back because I was going to hit the gym up real quick at like 7 a.m. and she handed me a clipboard and she was like, I need you, or she was like, let the cars in or whatever. I was like, look, I don't know who's coming in. I'm going to just let all the cars in. I was like, this is not a good job for me. I was like, and I need to go hit the gym. So figured I'd already help them out. You know, I don't know what I'm doing as far as that setup goes. And it was clearly, like, it was very organized. You know, she wouldn't let me help the night before with all the organization because she's got a certain way of doing things, which I get. And that's the other thing too. She would tell me, do less, because she would ask me for help with something and I would just do it until it was done. And she'd be like, that's not how I wanted you to do it. I need it done this way or whatever. So I was like, okay, well, I mean, it is what it is. Like, so she would tell me to do less. So I was actively trying to do less. So, Jesus Christ, man. So So I don't do well with crowds, but, you know, I went to the competitions and all that stuff with her, and, you know, just it makes me ornery sometimes. It's nothing crazy. So I just don't like a lot of people. But went to the competitions with her, supported her as much as I could. That was fine. Was out of crate all day. You know, that was okay. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't do well with crowds. Maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. I also hadn't taken my meds in a couple days, so maybe I was starting to get that little paranoia going on or something. I have no idea. But anyways, we get on with the competition, so I supported through the whole thing. It was really cool. It was really awesome to see like people that hadn't done this stuff before compete, and it was really cool to see like these people that didn't know they could do this like actually do it. So it was really awesome. So she gets done, and she's on the mic, and she's thanking the sponsors for their support and like everyone for helping her on that stuff. And she didn't mention anything about the shirts, which was like, you know, one of the most visible things out there. So it was petty, but I started thinking in my head, I was like, oh fuck. I was like, is she one of these women that like, she's passed all the other flags? I was like, is she one of these people that just takes everything her guy does for granted? I was like, well shit. I was like, because now at this point, I'm like fully in love with her. I could see a future together with her. Like, I'm in deep at this point. So, you know, and now I'm getting scared that, oh, maybe she's not who I thought she was, you know. But I'm usually pretty good at reading people, or so I thought. So anyways, two of her friends were like, thanks for the shirt. Sorry she didn't mention you. And Tanya says that they said that I was complaining about it first. I don't know. It's possible. Who knows? Everything's kind of like a little bit foggy. So, so I go to, I've been going back and forth from the bar at Crate there to get drinks for people and all that stuff that wanted it. So I went and got a margarita that they had made up, and I got through about half of it. And Tanya comes over and sits down next to me. Well, I, being a dick, clapped her on the back, and I did it harder than I meant to. But it wasn't any harder than I would do to anyone else who's her size and 5'8" or 5'10", because that's another thing. She was like, would you do that to a smaller woman? I was like, no, I wouldn't do that to a smaller man. I was like, it's not a gender thing, it's a freaking physical thing. I was like, you're a strong woman. I was like, sometimes I forget that you're still a woman. Like, I get that. Like, I have to remember that, you know. And I am working out more, so I am getting stronger, and like, there's a lot there. You know, I'm not on steroids. I'm not on anything crazy. You know, I take testosterone just as a therapy replacement. I don't overdo it. I take exactly enough to get me to 1200, and that is it. So it's like 0.45 milliliters twice a week or something like that. But anyways, it's low dose. So clapped on the back and was like, hey, I was like, look at those shirts. I was like, those shirts turned out great. Who did those for you? Who did all that work? You know, and then I immediately realized how much of an asshole I sounded. So I tried to smooth it over. I was like, look, in all seriousness, I was like, this is great. It turned out really well. Like, I'm proud of you and all that stuff. Because she likes being told she's proud of. That's a thing for her. So I tried to do that, you know, as long as I remembered. She didn't really say anything. She got up and she left, so I followed her out, and I realized from her body language that I should probably leave, which was a huge mistake. I should have never left. But I figured maybe, I was like, clearly she did tell me at the start of the day not to take anything she said personally, and I told her the same, because I knew I was going to be like under a little bit of stress and all that stuff, or just like ready to get out of there. And but apparently she didn't hear me. So I don't know, man. So she goes in to get a coffee. I follow her in, and I tell her, you know, like I said, I'm realizing from body language that I should probably bounce, because, you know, it's probably not good to be around her at this point. And, you know, I was feeling my own feelings, and I was like, I got to figure out what this is, because I'm not used to dealing with my own emotions. And I have since shut them back down, because I'll be damned if I'm ever emotionally vulnerable with another woman like that again. Because I think she started taking it as like emotional abuse, because that's the other thing. I talk about male and female dynamics a lot, which I'm trying not to do anymore, because it's not worth it. And like, people don't listen. It doesn't matter if it's objectively true for the population between the first and third quartile of the bell curve. Most people don't even understand what that means. They don't understand statistics. I keep forgetting that I have a fucking master's degree in science from this, and I know how to tear apart research and look at bias and all this stuff. But anyways, it sucks, man. Sometimes I wish I would have stuck in with a high school degree and never gotten fucking educated, because the more you know, the more you realize you don't know shit about shit, and you're just trying to put shit together and understand the world. And instead of just being like, well, it is what it is, like, I'm always trying to fucking understand, like, why is this happening? What is going on, etc. So anyways, I don't know if that makes more sense. So, I leave, I drive home, and as I'm leaving the parking lot, I text her. I was like, let's talk in a couple days, because I figured we should probably give me a couple days to, like, think about what I'm feeling, and, like, am I doing the math in my head right? Like, is she really this person, or did she just slip up? Is she just tired? Like, she passed all the other flags, bro, so she's probably good. Well, she called me later that night, and I asked her, I was like, you say you love me. I was like, why do you love me? And she told me why she loved me. And in my head, all I heard was what you can do for me, how you make me feel. I get that, but I was like, I love you for who you are as a human being. I love you for your heart, your soul, like who you are as a person. I was like, that's why I love you. I was like, I don't love you for what you can do for me or how you make me feel. But she clearly was exhausted. She wasn't hearing what I said, so she wasn't hearing what I was trying to say. Maybe I didn't have the right words. Anyways, which does happen, clearly. So she... I apologized for what I did. I had no idea how much it actually impacted her, and that's another big problem. So A, I didn't stick around. I should have fucking stuck around. B, I had no idea how that came across to her. Like, no idea. I knew I was being a snarky fucking asshole, but, like, I didn't realize it had triggered a bunch of fucking trauma in her. She had been physically abused a couple times. All I knew is that she'd been thrown into a wall by a dude. Like, but the way she talked about it, they also used to spar doing Muay Thai together, and she would blow it off as like, well, I'm a big girl, so it wasn't really a big deal. So I didn't realize how much emotional issues she has with this stuff throughout the conversation. Like, I can send you, if you want to send me your number, I will send you all of the voicemails, messages, and emails, and I'll try to do it in order. And bro, like, I went back through and read I'll get to this. So, like I said, she wasn't really hearing what I was saying, but I did apologize. She didn't hear the apology, which is whatever. I mean, what happened happened. So, there's a lot of factors on both sides. So I know I have some emotional damage from Donna and from past stuff. My past trauma from the military and all that stuff, that is put to bed. Like, I have done all the counseling and all. I went through cognitive processing therapy. I see a psychiatrist every 3 months just to touch in and brush up. I'm on some fairly mild dose of 3 different medications. One for nightmares, one for focus, and one for just a mood stabilizer. So it's low dose. I just need to, like, level out a little bit more sometimes, because otherwise I'll get more. I don't get manic, and I don't get. I do get depressive though, so gotta be careful with that. As long as I'm on the meds, I'm good. If I'm off the meds, like I said, I get a little paranoid. I started thinking like people are out to get me. When I realized it was a problem was when my family and I have this family chat, and on an iPhone, if someone copies a message from you or keeps it, it says someone kept this message. My brain read it as, oh my God, they're keeping stuff from me. And if you knew my family, we're all super close-knit. We're all brutally honest with each other. We all check each other when we're getting out of line. I was very, very fortunate to have a family like this, very close-knit. And, I woke up the next morning and I was like, oh, what the fuck? Because I had sent them a text or something, and all of them were like, bro, are you okay? Like, this isn't like you. So that's when I realized, oh shit, I need some medication. So anyways, long story. But I don't get violent. I don't have a history of violence. I've never punched a woman. I will talk my way out of a fight before I ever throw a punch, because A, it's not worth it. We're both going to get fucking hurt. B, I don't want to go to jail. And this is the society we live in. Probably going to go to jail. It just is what it is. So I try not to do that, and I make sure I try not to put myself in situations where that might happen. I'm not an idiot. So At least I don't think I am. You never know. Probably, I do have my blind spots though, and with Tanya, that was one of them. Because, that was the other thing too, man. When we first started communicating, like, she was like, I really like the way you communicate. She's like, but you don't have to like preface things with, don't take it this way, this is what I mean. Because she's like, I'm not that person. She's like, I know you've probably been with girls that are like that before, but she's like, I'm not that girl. So I just took her word for it and didn't do that anymore. I probably should have kept doing it. So what are you gonna do, man? Hindsight's 20/20. Like, all we can do is learn and grow. But if she doesn't give a chance to grow, then I don't know what to do, other than move on, which is what I had to do. Because what else am I gonna do, man? Like, just is what it is. So I think it was the next day. She sent me an email, and it broke my heart because she really laid out how she felt. She really laid out why she loved me, and it made logical sense to me. And I was like, holy fuck, I didn't realize she felt that way, and I didn't realize that the extent to how I made her feel. So she reached out, and she was like, I think it was at like 8 o'clock at night, and or something like that, and she was like, you left your meds here and your overnight bag, do you need them? I was like, well, I can go another night without my meds, because I was trying to give her some space, which I fucking shouldn't have done. And she was like, well, I can meet you halfway or come up there. I was like, no, I'll drive up there. She was like, as long as you know you're just picking up your meds. It's like, yeah, of course. So drive up there, leave the car running, open the door, or knock on the door. She opens it. She's clearly emotionally distraught, like way more than I expected. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, can I give you a hug? And she was like, I don't know. She was like, I don't know if you're going to pick up your stuff and walk out the door and I'm never going to see you again. And I was like, no. I was like, I'm here to fucking stay. Like, that's entirely up to you. So she ran up to me. She gave me a big hug. She started crying. I started crying because I felt like a douche. And we sat, she sat on a chair. I purposely put myself on the floor next to her in a very vulnerable spot, because I didn't want to make her feel threatened or anything like that crap. And I'm pretty sure her roommate was there, because I definitely heard his chair squeaking a couple times in the other room, just chilling. So that's another thing, man. Like, did she really think I was gonna hurt her? Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, this woman has trauma, like triggers. So, and that's, I mean, looking back at this, I'm like, she needs counseling. She needs help. She needs to talk through this, because this is not good. Like, she can go through life like this. She even told me through email that she knows she's going to be alone and die a quote-unquote spinster. And I was like, no one deserves that. Because I told her, shortly after we met, she said the one thing, because one of the potential red flags was that she was 40 and had never been married. And I've been married twice. And my first wife was, she was bipolar and borderline personality disorder, which actually was what got me interested in psychology, because I'd never done that before. I'd never been exposed to that before, so that was a mess, but I got out of it unscathed, and she put a knife to my throat at one point, so it was interesting. But anyways, my second wife I've known since I was 5 years old. We started dating when I was still in the military. She wouldn't marry me while I was in the military, so that was another reason I got out of 10 years. And it just is what it is. So, but the problem is, I got a vasectomy at 23. She knew it. We'd had that discussion, but we both remember that discussion differently, which sucks, because we both had very good paying jobs, and we were making about the same amount of money, which was great. And we built a house up in Dunedin, Florida here, based on one of our incomes, and it just sucks. And then she, so we had all the puzzle pieces of life put together, and then she wanted a kid. And I was like, look, so we went to counseling for like a year and a half, and at the end of the day, I was like, look, I just, if I give in and have a kid with you, A, it's going to be a $40,000 surgery to get this fixed. B, if it's even possible, that's for a chance. B, if you give in and don't have a kid, you're going to resent me when you hit your 40s or 40s or 50s. So I was like, you are still fairly young. I think she was like 35 when we got divorced. I was like, you need to go find someone, or 30, no, she was younger, so 32 maybe, 32. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was like, you need to go find someone to have kids with. Which kind of annoys me, because it's been like maybe 9 years and she still doesn't have any kids. So I'm like, did you really like just want it all? Like, I don't know. Or she can't find a dude to have kids with, which I totally get. There's a lot of fucking assholes out there. So I'm not one of them. I'm cheeky, and I speak my mind, and I have a very small to no filter, but I'm not a fucking dick. When push comes to shove, I'm solid in relationships. I don't fuck around, you know. And that was the other thing, like the pool party, naked pool party stuff. She was not into that, so I gave that up for her. I never told her that, and please don't tell her that, but I gave that up because, and I talked to the group, and they agreed. They were like, well, if your partner's not into it, then probably shouldn't do it. I'm like, yep, that was my thought process. So I was willing to do that for her. You know, it's what you do. So like I said, I could literally see a future with this woman. And that's the thing. You know, when we first met, she was like, guys either want to break my back or marry me. And I'm like, I'm not going to ask you to marry me, and I'm not going to break your back. I was like, if we're together in 10 years or something, because that was the other thing. She was like, I do miss the fact that I didn't have my big day. I was like, hey, if we're still together in 10 years, you know, we'll buy each other rings, do the ceremony without the fucking paperwork, and, you know, have the after party or whatever. And she was like, okay. So it was cute. She was really cute. That's the thing. She's got such a masculine energy, which really is attractive to me, but she can be so adorably, like, girly at the same time. She's got these moments which are just adorable, which is awesome. So anyways, she started saying something like along the lines of like she was afraid that I might hit her at some point. And I was like, from a clap on the back? I was like, that's not a pattern of behavior. I was like, we've known each other for 3.5 months, and we've spent maybe 20 days together total. I was like, the fact that we've gotten this far in 20 days, that's quick. That's really, really quick. That is super quick for me. I mean, with Donna, we were together for about a year before we both admitted to each other that we loved each other. I mean, it took a while, and we had already known each other for a year before that. So this was quick. You know, maybe that was part of the issue. Maybe she got scared. I don't know. But yeah, like, so she was like, you don't trust women and all that stuff. I'm like, it's not that I don't trust women. It's that I know how a majority of women work. I was like, it's pretty basic. I mean, we've got correlational studies. We have all this data. I mean, if you look up the data from Tinder sometime if you want to see something eye-opening. Like, we've got all this stuff. It just is what it is. Like, I was like, and maybe I shouldn't talk about it around you because I know. And that was the other thing. I was like, you're acting like this is like I'm personally attacking you on this stuff. I was like, I know you're not that person. That's why I'm discussing it with you, because I can. You know, like, but I don't know. Apparently, I've pretty much stopped doing it because it's not worth it. And like I said, people have a hard time entertaining a thought without accepting it. Let's put it that way. And I assumed, probably incorrectly, that Tanya was one of those people that could entertain thoughts without accepting them. Maybe she can, maybe she can't, I don't know. Clearly it was triggering something. So, I mean, at the Halloween party, she even said that I was shitting on women again or something like that, which I don't remember that at all. I remember talking to her friends. I was trying to be open and friendly. I don't remember talking about relationships at all, but she swears that I did. And I'm like, I was really fucking actively trying not to do that. But I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. So I objectively read, and I finally sent her, you know, she sent me a email back and was like, the title of it was No. And then she went through and she was like, this is, you know, I've been lying to myself over the past couple days and like all this crap. And I'm like, this is either a bunch of excuses or you are coming from a fear trauma based place. I was like, this is insane. I was like, you're literally talking about how you think I'm going to hit you at some point or something like that, or you're going to get beat up by me at some point. I was like, that's nuts. I was like, you literally wanted to spar with me like 2 weeks ago. Thank God I didn't. You know, because she was like, we should square up sometime. I was like, okay. I was like, we should do that. Thank God I didn't, because that's the other thing. She said that exposure therapy works really well for her. And I was like, that's interesting, because it's not very evidence-based. And trauma or exposure therapy isn't usually the best way to go, you know, especially with someone who's intelligent and is in their head and like all this stuff. Usually it's cognitive processing therapy, maybe cognitive behavioral therapy, but not exposure therapy. But I was like, hey, if it works for you, well, I'll tell you what, after seeing this play out, exposure therapy is very bad for her. she should not be doing exposure therapy. It's one thing, when she was talking about she didn't like the weights falling in the gym. Okay, that's fine. You expose yourself to that, whatever. Another thing, if you've been beat up by your exes and now you want to spar with someone who's your partner, like, I mean, you go 50%, obviously, in the ring, but stuff still happens. Like, I wouldn't do that with her. Like, there's no way. I was like, now that I've seen this interaction play out, I was like, I would trigger you all over again. So, she was finally like, I need the space. Oh, that was the other thing. She was like, I need to set an example for women. I was like, these girls, honestly, I mean, I haven't known Tanya that long. I obviously haven't known her friends that long, but I do know how. Now, I do have to remember that Tanya is not a typical woman, so she probably hasn't surrounded herself by typical friends, but I have not observed them interact long enough to know. But I was like, I know that when stuff goes down in relationships, females are hype men. They will hype you up and hype you up and hype you up, and they will talk shit on the dude, and then, they'll get you to break up with them. I was like, and some of those girls will try to move in on that guy. I was like, it's fucked up. It's happened before. I've watched it go down. And that was the other thing too. Like, when I told her I was, we were both wounded animals or whatever, I was talking about Donna. I was talking about that kind of stuff. I wasn't talking about, I've never really been burned by a woman before, because I've been smart enough to avoid those women, So, like, Jesus. Except for my first wife. But that was not her fault. That was mental health. So, and that's what I really feel is going on with Tanya. Is it's not that she has mental health issues, it's that she's got a lot of trauma, and it's fear-based, and instead of overcoming her fear and moving through it, because that was the other thing, she said she doesn't feel safe in the world anymore. And I was like, girl, you've got 4 years of Muay Thai under your belt. You said you got your shorts, all right, so that means something. You've got firearms. I was like, and you're a strong woman, and you're not small. I was like, you've got more going on for you safety-wise than most guys do. So, like, I don't know what to tell you. I was like, that's got to be on you. I was like, I would never hit you. Like, I would never punch her. Like, I was so careful with her, even in the bedroom, man. Like, and I'm gonna try not to get into details, but she liked she never liked the female leather harness, right? But she said she liked the male harness because she started watching American Horror Story, the latest season. And I was like, well, I have one of those, right? She was like, oh, awesome. So she came over, we put that on her. She looks really good in it. And she wanted me to, fuck her, bend her over the couch and grab the fucking harness and go to town. Well, I was even careful then. Like, I got up to about maybe 75% of, like, full force. And she was like, okay, that's too much, back off. So, like, even in the bedroom, like, I don't lose control and shit. Like I said, the one time in my life that I really considered hitting a woman was my first wife, and it was because she was going fucking crazy, and it was after she put a knife to my throat, and I was leaving because I was walking out of my own house, and she stood in the way, and she saw the look in my eye, and she got the fuck out of the way, thank God, because I honestly cannot tell you if I would not have at least shoved her at that point. But that would have been for me to get out of the fucking house. I was in, like, fight or flight mode at that point. I was like, I'm either getting out of here or shit's going down. So I will always walk away. But anyways, so yeah, man, I don't know. I've got my own issues, but like I said, not when it comes to relationships. So I know what I want. That was the other thing too. She was like, I don't think I can be in a relationship with anybody. And part of me was thinking, well, you read my bio. Like, you knew exactly what I was looking for. Like, a part of you wanted a long-term relationship, but if she feels like she has to set an example for women because I clapped her on the back in front of a couple of her friends, and then the word got out because I'm sure people fucking talked and gossiped. And okay, so that was the other thing. So she said she needed space. So I was like, okay. So I respected that because I usually texted her good morning every day. So I was like, after we met up at the house, and I left because I wanted to stay with her, but I knew that probably wasn't a good idea, at least for her, because she had already set that boundary that I wouldn't be staying the night, so I didn't want to do that. Oh yeah, assets and liabilities. So there were several nights where she wanted to sleep in bed with me, but I wouldn't let her because I told her, I was like, we had this discussion. You said I needed you to be an asset, so I needed to keep you accountable and make sure that you're sleeping from 11:30 to 11:30 to 7, I guess, every day. So I tried really hard to do that. Like, we'd get talking on the phone, and I'd realize it was like past 11:30, and I'd be like, hey, we need to go because it's bedtime. So I really tried to support her on all that stuff. You know, I know she's not really into gifts, so like I brought up a bunch of chicken and steak, you know, because I thought that would be fun, and she liked that. And, you know, I try to be a thoughtful guy. I try to be, and that's the other thing too. Like, there's a difference between a nice guy and a good guy. I try to be a good guy. I'm not always a nice guy. A nice guy sometimes has to be a little bit of an asshole to get his point across or something like that, but it is what it is. And a nice guy's not going to, or a good guy's not going to do shit like expecting shit in return. And that was another reason why I tried to smooth that over, because I realized, oh, I'm being a fucking nice guy right now. Like, fuck. So I'm doing what I preach against. But anyways, so that was the other thing I told her. I was like, look, processing all these emotions, this is new for me too. I was like, I am not used to doing this. And like I said, I won't do it again because it's not, you know, she made a comment on her page about emotional abuse. I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like, if me talking about relationships is emotional abuse, I was like, A, you need to look up the term emotional abuse, because that ain't it. B, holy shit. Like, if me being open and honest and vulnerable with you, talking about this stuff that is on my mind, constitutes emotional abuse, well, I don't know what to do with that. Like, I just don't. So, yeah, I mean, that was the other thing. She put something snarky like, sorry, I forgot you, bro. And I was like, so that's, anyways, I gave her a couple days. And that was the other thing too. I'd gotten off Instagram the day of the competition because I knew when she first wanted me to get on Instagram, I told her I deleted all my social media. That shit triggers me because I see a bunch of crappy people doing crappy stuff to each other that's so dumb and so easily fixed. And I can't help but comment on it. Like, I just can't fucking help it. And so I knew, you know, the Gains. The Gains is the one that I made all the comments on. Because I'd asked her what's a good meme page to follow. So she said the Gains. Should have never followed him. Or her, or whoever that is. Don't follow him anymore, because I don't need any of that crap. So, but I'd literally gotten off Instagram because I was like, if this is a trigger and this is going to ruin our relationship, I need to get off Instagram. Like, period. Like, I don't like social media to begin with. It's a dumpster fire. It's a place full of hate. I hate it. Like, I don't want to fall into that mindset again. So, so it was too late. You know, I had gotten off Instagram too late. So a couple days after I gave her space, I was curious. I was like, I wonder. I was like, she's passed every other test. I was like, this is the last fucking test. Let's see if she passed it. Because several weeks prior, when we first met, about a week after we met, we were talking about the whole online dating thing. And because I had been on there for 2, maybe 3 days, and that was it. I did not delete my account. I purposely left my account open because you can see when the last time someone was on there, and I wanted her to know that I wasn't fucking around because we talked specifically about monkey branching. Specifically. She had no idea what monkey branching was. I was like, okay, so think about this. I was like, think about you and I are together, right? But I'm still on field because I'm looking for something better. And I'm going to keep doing my thing with you while secretly doing this other thing with this other person until I have a good grip on them. And I know they're not going anywhere because they're quote unquote better than you, hotter, whatever, any of those things. And then, fuck, man, dude, it's hard to keep my train of thought these days, especially when I'm talking about this stuff. It works me up a little bit. So I asked her, I was like, how would you feel about that? She was like, well, that's shitty. I was like, right, that is monkey branching. I was like, a lot of men and women do it. It's horrible. I was like, women tend to do it more because it's all about the security thing and their biological drive and all that stuff. That's the other thing. I look at things from an evolutionary perspective, a biological perspective. I understand why people do this. It sickens me that they cannot overcome their own biological urges with their prefrontal cortex and get past this. But apparently they can't. I mean, literally, there was a friend of mine. He had to pick up his niece from high school, from a homecoming dance, and I was just watching people coming out, and there was this big group of guys, and all of them were by themselves except one guy. The one guy that had a girl on his arm wore the douchiest clothes with the douchiest sunglasses at night, and was saying the douchiest things. And I'm like, oh my God, these girls haven't learned yet. Like, we have the internet. We have all this information. Like, why are you getting with assholes? Why are you getting with these people, you know? So, I don't know. I might come across as a dick sometimes, but I usually try to mean it in the best way, and I'm not purposely doing it, and I'm just being honest. So, you know, and I'll always apologize if I'm in the wrong. I usually hope to be proven wrong most of the time, and sometimes I am, which is great, but more often than not, I'm not proven wrong, and it fucking sucks, man, because, like, I expect better of this world, but it's the world we have to live in. And that's another thing I tell people. I'm like, there's the world you want to live in, there's the world you should live in, and there's the world you have to live in. I was like, and you got to find a balance between those. So it just is what it is. Yeah, because that was the other thing, man. Tanya, like, I did tell her at one point, I was like, if we break up, I was like, I'm done looking for another relationship. I'm not going to look for another one, because I actively looked for one this time, you know, and I'm just not going to look for another one. I found one. It kind of fell into my lap. So it was about 2 weeks before we broke up. This woman reached out, and we were talking back and forth. And like I said, I was gonna decline. The woman that I was thought about it though, dude. Oh my God. So after Tanya and I broke up, we started flirting back and forth, and it turned out it was a guy I know who's bisexual, who has the exact same name and very similar phone number of this other person. So thank God I called before I went over there to hook up, because he answered the phone and I was like, oh shit, it's you. So he was like, yeah, I thought you were coming over to the dark side. It's like, no, sorry, man, I didn't mean to lead you on and all that stuff. But anyways, this other girl just kind of, like, I've known her for a while, and she's a good person, and she lost her husband of 10 years to cancer. So, you know, she knows what she wants. She's ethically non-monogamous, but she wants a primary partner who, you know, and I don't know if it's going to last, because there is a sexual compatibility there. She's got endometriosis or something like that. I forget the exact word, but basically it affects about 2%, between 2 and 10% of the female population, and it makes sex painful, which fucking sucks, because I'm not exactly the smallest dude in the world. So it kind of blows, because I do like her. She's an awesome person. She's very smart. But, you know, she's got that sexual compatibility issue. I don't know if we're going to be able to get over that. So we're trying, though. It's working on it. That aside, so yeah, after Tanya sent me the final email, and, like, she ended it by saying, leave me alone. And I was like, well, I guess we're done, because she made it pretty clear that she was scared of me. And I was like, I don't know why. I was like, because I'm bigger and stronger. I was like, this is ridiculous. I was like, you fucking have guns, for Christ's sake. But anyways, and yeah, I was frustrated, man. Like, I'll send you the text if you want. I was like, for an athlete, you give up really easily in relationships. And then she sent me a bunch of other stuff that was, like, making up more excuses from what it seemed like. Although, reading back, I think she was legitimately scared that I would hurt her at some point. Which is fucking crazy, man. That breaks my fucking heart. I can't prove a negative. Like, how am I supposed to prove to someone that I'll never hit them? How am I supposed to do that? I have no past behaviors of hitting anyone. I had a fucking lizard on my car the other day. It's happened before. I pulled over to the side of the road and got the lizard off because I didn't want to kill him. Like, it's not who I am as a person. So, but, yeah, so, you know, I told her, you know, she sent me a bunch of other stuff, and I was frustrated, and I was like, whatever, you're a quitter. Because at that point, I was just like, this is fucking bullshit. I was like, I'm getting accused of stuff that I haven't done. I was like, she's seen red flags that aren't there. Because that's what I told her, too. I was like, look, I talk about male-female dynamics. I know it's controversial. I was like, but I have the balls to do that instead of most of these dudes that shut the fuck up because they want to get pussy. I was like, I'm not that guy. I was like, I want to see if you can entertain thoughts without accepting them. I want to make sure I'm with a psychologically strong individual, you know? So I want someone that can debate and bring up opposite points, because it's very rare. I talk about this with my sisters. They're awesome. I've talked with them through all of my relationships, really. Like, they know who I am. And they'll get on my case, too. They'll check me when I get a little out of line as far as talking too much about male-female stuff. But, yeah, they'll bring up points about men. Because that was the other thing. Like, I sent her final email, And I tried to wrap it all up, and I was like, I don't buy your reasons for breaking up. I was like, I think you're coming from a fear-based, trauma-based perspective. And I was like, I think she needs counseling. I think she really does need counseling. I mean, she's living with her ex. She clearly has not gotten over other guys beating her up. So, and I don't know how many guys beat her up. Apparently it was more than this one guy, which makes me furious at men that do this shit. Like, they belong to be fucking buried under the prison. But, what am I going to do about it? So, that was the other thing. Dude, literally, oh my God. So, literally, as a counselor, you have to see what your biases are. There's certain people that you can't work with, right? I can work with child molesters all day long. I despise them, but at least I understand scientifically where that's coming from, and I can try to help them find work or whatever. Thank God I only had to work with a couple of those fuckers, but I could do that. I cannot work with guys that are fucking wife beaters. I can't do it. Like, I don't respect them. Nope, that is not. No, because I want to fucking punch them in the face. You want to talk about punching someone in the face? That's who I want to punch in the face, is those guys. So I had another coworker that he couldn't deal with the child molesters because he has kids. That was a trigger for he couldn't do it, but he could deal with the wife beaters. So we kind of traded off on that stuff. But so there you go. Like, I guess that's one evidence-based, whatever, for what it's worth. Apparently nothing. So I did break down, I tried to be objective. I gave it like 12 hours. I went back through, I read all her emails. I sent her a final voicemail. I probably shouldn't have reread the texts. And I tried to keep a level voice, but I couldn't. I broke down halfway through it, but I basically told her, I was like, look, I've read back through your text objectively as I could. I was like, I really do think that you think I'm going to hurt you at some point. I was like, I know I help on women a lot in relationships, but I also know how men work. And I was like, and I know that there are attractive guys. I was like, I know there's an attraction differential between us. I know this. You're not dumb. I'm not dumb. And I was like, and I started thinking, and there was that night, because there was a night where she was really weird, and she had texted me and asked me if I thought she was pretty. And this was like maybe 2 weeks before we broke up, so pretty fresh. And I was like, yeah, you're beautiful. I was like, you're beautiful to me, and that's all that matters. I was like, if any girls start getting catty towards you, they can fuck off. So she was like, no, I mean, do you think I'm pretty in the face? And I repeated, I was like, I think you're beautiful to me, every part of you, that's all that matters. Like, but I told her, I was like, I know there is an attraction, because, I had friends of mine, they were like, I'm surprised you're with her. And I was like, yeah, because I'm not a fucking shallow asshole, you fucking idiot. Because I have friends of mine that they need a certain level of, like, attraction. It's bullshit is what it is. It's fucking bullshit. I'm looking for a good person, or good people, not, crap. So, and that was the other thing too. Like, I do have a friend with benefits, which Tanya and I talked about, and there were several weekends where, thank God it worked out, because her primary partner had happened to make plans, but there were several weekends where I was going to hang out with her, and I broke that to go hang out with Tanya, because I looked at Tanya as my primary partner, and she didn't like that. But so I stopped using the term primary partner. I don't think she noticed, though. Because, and I just started, I referred to her, to other people, I just referred to her as my partner. But I told her, I was like, the reason you're my primary partner right now is literally just because I'm spending more time with you than I am with anybody else. I was like, that's all that means right now. But, and that's the other thing. I think she's scared of commitment. That's why I talked to you that one day, because there were some things she was saying, and it made me really wonder. I was like, is she ever going to be able to commit to a relationship? Because you can be ethically non-monogamous, but you still have to commit to relationships. You still have to commit to one or more people. If you're not committing, you're single. You might as well be single. Like, the commitment is everything. And that's what annoys me when people talk about people that are polyamorous, that just don't want to make a commitment and are scared of commitment and just want to, like, do whatever the fuck they want all the time. Like, that's not how that works at all if you're doing it, quote unquote, correctly. Now, it doesn't really matter how you're doing it. If you're a closed group of people and everyone's enthusiastically consenting, then obviously, yeah, that's fine. Do you. But to be polyamorous, it's fucking challenging. It's hard. It takes a lot more communication than it does a regular relationship. And, you have to be willing and open to deal with jealousy feelings and feelings of possessiveness and all that stuff. Because that was the other thing. She would, fucking blanking. Tanya would say, like, you can't have me, you know, or you can't possess me or something like that. I'd be like, yeah, I know. I was like, I would never try to do that, nor, like, I'm not asking you to that. And that's the other thing, too. I was like, I'm not asking to be the first priority in your life. I'm asking to be a priority in your life. That's all I need. I don't need much. I'm a pretty simple dude. I've got my life figured out. I'm fucking retired. I have like $6,400 a month coming in between everything. Half of it gets adjusted for inflation every year. Like, I'm building a $419,000 house. I've got my life together. And that was the other thing I told her is like, I don't need you and you don't need me. And that makes me want to make this work even more because we don't need each other, which is fucking amazing. Like, how often do you run? You're a dude. How often do you run into women that truly don't need a guy? Truly. It's very rare. There's a lot of them that say they don't. But when push comes to shove and you really get into the relationship, they do. You know, which it is what it is. Like, that's why I say be an island, man. This is why I tell guys. I was like, be an island. I was like, there's a lot of women out there that are just boats. Like, Tanya's an island. Tanya's a fucking island, which is awesome. And we talked about this too. I was like, you know, a lot of women are boats. They'll tie up to your island. They'll explore the island. They'll get bored, and then they'll move on to another island. I was like, it just is what it is. And that's another thing I told Tanya. I was like, look, I was like, there's a phrase that's she's not yours, it's just your turn. I was like, I'm never going to ask you to be mine alone. Like, I'm not, because that's the thing. She was like, I don't know if I can commit to one person. I was like, I'm not asking for that. Would that be awesome? Maybe. I don't know. I was monogamous for 7 years. I don't know if I could keep doing it. Like, I feel like at some point I probably would have cheated on her. So I honestly, like, I'd have to be honest with myself, and I don't know. Like, I might have been able to be monogamish with Donna, and we talked about that, but because she had her secondary partner too, which I had to break the news to him when she died. That was rough. I didn't want to meet him that way, but I did. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Tanya needs some help. She's got some stuff to deal with. The fact that I'm a solid individual, got my issues. That's the other thing. I shared some of the stuff I'd done within the military with her, and I made a comment, like, we were talking about, I think we were talking about, like, people that are paranoid or conspiracy theories or something, and I mentioned that I have a female friend of mine who's an ex-Marine, and she's always, like, worried about being on a watch list, and I was like, we are on a watch list. I was like, we should be on a watch list. I was like, think about it. Between you, me, and one other person with the training, we could literally go through as a 3-man team and clear out of school before the cops showed up. I was like, that is... Yes, we should be on a watch list, because God forbid we fucking snap and go crazy. Like, that's why I'm on medication, so I don't do that, you know? Because that was the other thing she was worried about. She was like, well, what happens when you get off your meds? I was like, I get paranoid. I don't get violent. Another thing I told her, I was like, and that's the thing, maybe I just shared too much with her. Maybe because when I mentioned that thing about the school, she was like, oh, that's good to know. I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, maybe I just scared her. So, but it is what it is. That's the thing, man. It's hard as a military person to talk to civilians like you would another military person, because they just, I mean, when I first got out of the military, man, I'd be in a room full of people and I'd be talking and suddenly, like, the room would be just totally quiet, and I shut the room down for, I don't know if I was being loud. I don't know if I said something that was like everyone else thought was like, what the fuck? I don't know. But anyways, that doesn't happen that much anymore, and I did purposely, like, lower my voice a lot because I used to be much louder. So I got a buddy of mine that's half deaf in one ear, and that guy is loud as fuck. Like, he's getting better, but it's to the point where people are annoyed. I'm like, bro, you got to use your... I was like, I'm just going to tell you inside voice. I was like, when you're talking too loud, he's like, all right, thanks. But yeah, he's a good dude. He's got his own issues, and he just broke up with a girl that I told him not to get with. I was like, have your fun, but do not get in a relationship with her. She's poison in a relationship. I was like, she's a good person, but in a relationship, she's poison. He got with her for 3 years, and then... finally realized, I was like, she was cheating on him, and like he had no self-esteem left. It was awful. That's the thing. I see, if any of my relationship trauma, it's from society. It's from, like, looking out at what's going on. When I got out of the military, man, I got used to, I was active duty, so I got used to working with, and civil engineer, so I got used to working with actual strong, independent women, like people like Tanya that would just kick ass and take names and move on. And, you know, I just assumed that's how it was, because I went literally from being homeschooled and totally sheltered, living out in the middle of the woods in a trailer, to the military. So that was a huge wake-up call. It's just, I don't know, man. There's a lot. I have a good family. Like, I have money coming in. I don't have to worry about income. I'm level. I'm fairly decent in bed, especially if the woman's communicative. I'm willing to give and take. I'm a complete switch, just like Tanya. I'd never run into a full-on switch before. I love Donna to death, but she was very subordinate, and I don't like to be dominant 100% of the time. It's exhausting. So, yeah, man, it's just, I don't know, dude. I don't know how long I've been talking. Let's see. Oh, 1 hour and 5 minutes. Jesus. All right, well, if you make it to the end of this, I love Tanya to death. I don't want to see her be alone, because she told me she was going to be alone and die a spinster. I was like, no one deserves that. I was like, I know you're not going to come back to me. I was like, because you don't fucking trust me for some reason. I was like, I don't get it. Like, because she wouldn't even, I don't know, man. I don't know if she even knows. She said she didn't feel safe in the world. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? So, like, all I wanted to do, because she left a bunch of stuff at my house. All I wanted to do was, like, go, when I realized how much I'd impacted her, all I wanted to do is go up there and hold her, and, like, reassure that everything was okay. Because that was, on the flip side, she said one of the things that she loves about me is my calming energy and, like, being calm around her. I'm like, oh, it's just someone walking. I'm like, well, how do you go from that to, like, being scared of me? Like, I don't know. So, we've only had 20 days together. I had 30 seconds of being an asshole, and that negated the other, like, point, and it wasn't even to a point that could be violent. Like, I don't know. I just don't know. So, I just don't know, man. Well, I did tell her that it was up to her, and apparently she made her decision, which fucking blows. And, I mean, I didn't get to sleep till 6:30 this morning, because it was still, like, every now and then I'll just start perseverating over it and, like, trying to play everything back in my head and figure out what the fuck went wrong. And, I don't know, man. I think it was a combination of a lot of things. I don't think I should have gone up there that day, and, I just, I don't know. Shouldn't have opened my fucking mouth. So, even though it's how I felt, that doesn't matter. And I honestly didn't know how I felt. I thought I knew how I felt, but I was still figuring all that out. So, which is why I tried to smooth it over, but clearly that wasn't effective. And like I said, I'm sure she's got little birds fucking tweet, 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 tweet in her ear. It happens all the time. Bugs the shit out of me. I had people whisper in my ear. I literally had dudes being like, dude, you can do way better, and she ain't worth it. And I was like, fuck you, bro. I was like, you don't know this chick. I was like, this woman is worth it. So, I was like, she's worth trying. I was like, I know relationships can get messy, but she's worth fucking trying. But if Tanya's not wanting to commit to a relationship, even if it's a non-monogamous relationship, and because that's the thing, like, I told her, I was like, I'll take the scraps of time that you have. I don't care. It's enough for me at this point. I was like, if it becomes not enough, then we'll have that conversation, and we'll figure out whether I need to look for a primary partner and you be a secondary, and if you're okay with that, which, it seems like she would be, but I'm not going to find another person like her, man. Like, it doesn't exist. Like, and that's the other thing. She was like, well, you'll find another girl like me. I was like, I really won't. I was like, I don't think you understand how rare of a human you are. So, I just don't, man. It just is what it is. Yeah, when she tried to pull the trust thing on me, I'm like, bro, I trusted you with a strap on. Like, that's literally the most intimate thing a guy can do with a woman, like, and for a woman. It's like, that's, I don't know, man. Fucking blows. But anyways, I hope this explains more stuff. Like I said, if you want me to send you all the stuff, I can, but it's going to be a lot of listening. So it's just a lot of factors, man. And I can't go through and listen to it again. It's too much to unpack. I can't wrap my brain around it anymore. I'm tired. So I'm going to spend Thanksgiving with this new girl. She's got a lot of her and our friends are coming over, so it'll be good. I baked all the stuff I needed to bake today, so that was good. But yeah, at this point, I'm going forward with zero expectations, and I'm just going to relax and enjoy myself like I always fucking do. And Oh, that was the other thing, because Tanya, she left a bunch of stuff here, man. She left a shirt here, she left a blanket here, clothes, a dildo, like a bunch of stuff. And she was like, you can just throw it out. And that, to me, says a lot about a person, like, which made me caution. Again, dude, that's the thing, though. She's passed so many tests. I think she's just got some small shortcomings that she's not realizing how it's coming across. And that's, I think, the biggest thing. When someone, at the end of a relationship, if it's going to end, and you're like, well, just throw my shit out and I'll throw your stuff out. No, okay? You either bring it back over or you mail it. Like, there's one of the two. But she said she didn't want her stuff back. So I told her, I was like, look, if you don't want your stuff back, I was like, I'll keep it. I'll use it. It'll be a reminder to me never to give my heart away so quick to anyone and not to be emotionally vulnerable with anyone again. You know, not like that. And just won't share. I just won't share because I can't. Apparently people can't take it. So I can't help that. But I can help what I share with people, and I just will not be sharing that again because I can't. I just can't do it. Can't do it, man. I can't keep giving my heart away and having it fucking stomped on, especially for something dumb like this. And I know it's not dumb. It's dumb to me because I've got the training behind it, but I know it's not dumb to her. I know for her it's very real, and that's what I'm saying is she needs counseling. She needs therapy. She needs to figure this out because she cannot go through life like this. If she goes through life scared of partners, she will be alone. She'll make sure she stays alone. And that's the other thing I told her. I was like, look, you only have so much time in this world. For example, you can have a child, you can have money, you can have time, you can have money, and you can have energy. Or you can have a kid. You can't get all three, or all four. You can't have everything in this life to the fullest extent. Yes, you can have a career and have a kid, but you're compromising at some point. Like you are. It just is what it is. I've talked to enough parents, and I've talked to my own brother who has a kid, and he's very upfront and honest with that. So, but anyways. All right, man. Well, I could probably keep talking, but it just, that's all I got, and I got to go shower. So I hope this clarifies things and explains things, at least from my standpoint. I have no idea what was said. I really don't care. The truth always comes out in the end, and that's what I have to remember. It doesn't matter because the truth always fucking comes out in the end. So, it just is what it is. But it kills me. It fucking kills me. So, it does suck because, like I said, honestly, I could see a future with her.